And just like the seasonal flu, Scarf Lady and Tony the Terrible are back and circulating on air.
In this a bit of a fantasy world where we're pretending that COVID is not relevant.
Is that the right call in your eyes, to not make masks part of the conversation going forward?
You know, not only should it be part of the conversation, but it should be very clear when there is the need to use it.
There's no doubt that masks work. Talking about an individual's effect on their own safety. I am concerned that people will not abide by recommendation.
Joining me now is Dr. Scott Atlas, former Trump White House COVID advisor. Dr. Atlas, I feel like you and I have lived in a time warp these past 3+ years, right? We knew the mask didn't work all those years ago. That big influenza study with cloth masks, and they just tried to destroy everyone who questioned the mask back then. But now, here we are again. The masks are back. What do you say to this madness?
Well, Laura, we have a crisis of both competence and ethical behavior here. I mean, to hear Fauci and Birx, who presided over the biggest healthcare fiasco in a century with completely wrong information, spewing out misinformation and pseudoscience. Here's the facts. Number one, there is no deadly pandemic present. There hasn't been now for a couple years. Number two, there is no public health emergency. So therefore, there should never be an emergency use authorization for some kind of experimental drug, which we're about to see. And third point, which is more specifically about masks here. Masks do not work, period. That's the science. That's all the data. If you believe in science at all, you look at the studies that were published by the CDC back in May 2020 that showed that masks were not protective for people in a viral respiratory infection. This has been validated over and over again. Annals of Internal Medicine, the Danish study in November of 2020, they were not protective of a randomized controlled trial. And then the Cochrane study earlier this year, which wasn't a single study. It was an analysis of all the sound scientific data, all of it. Fauci is spewing nonsense. And the Cochrane study had two important conclusions. Number one, the surgical medical masks did not show a reduction in respiratory viral infections. But the second point is there was no difference between surgical masks and N95 masks. Okay, so this is complete nonsense. I don't know what Fauci's talking about. The reason is because he doesn't know what Fauci's talking about. Again, we have a crisis here. We have a crisis of not just competence. We have people who refuse to admit they were wrong. Okay, the earth is round. 2 + 2 = 4. Masks do not work. And those lockdowners will literally never admit they were wrong.
And now colleges are finding out, Dr. Atlas, that the kids who are coming in as freshmen, they have poor math skills. Oftentimes their writing and reading skills are way below par. And a lot of this can be traced back to the lockdown. So the damage that was done to young people is incalculable, and no one was ever held responsible for this. But earlier today, Biden addressed the fact that he wasn't following his own CDC guidelines. Watch this.
I explained to the press, I've been tested again today. I'm clear across the board. But they keep telling me because this has to be 10 days or something, I got to keep wearing it. But don't tell them I didn't have it on when I walked in.
Oh, my God. So he's doing this big feverino on the mask again and is testing, and he's holding his mask in his hand.
Laura, we're obsessing about testing for a virus that is endemic. This is not a pandemic. This is an endemic virus. There's 4 or 5 coronaviruses endemic. It will never go away. This is irrational behavior to do this kind of testing. I mean, frankly, it's up to individuals now. At this point, we have to be human beings. The distinguishing feature of a human being from an animal is they have the ability to reason. That means critical thinking. I look at the elections and I'm frightened even more because the 2022 elections, 8 governors were running again who had severe mandates and lockdowns, and 7 were reelected.
Reelected.
Okay,
yeah,
these were reelected by voters, the governors who destroyed the voters' children, who destroyed the voters' careers, who literally killed people with their guidance. So we have to have people wake up, be a critical thinker. The era of trusting people because of their title should have been over years ago. And to listen to Birx and Fauci offer advice This is audacious behavior. It's outrageous. These people are responsible for massive destruction in this country, including, like you said, kids, and they personally have destroyed trust in science and public health.
Dr. Atlas, thank you so much. Great to see you tonight.